All right, so welcome to the ZMY Begin class. All right, the Zoomy Begin. Go ahead and lie down. Yeah, lie down on your backs. And you can take regular Shavasana with your legs straight, or you can bend the knees. Yeah, or you can, if you want your knees to be open, you could do that too. Do what feels good here. If your knees are bent, let the feet be at the edges of the mat so your knees can hang together. And that way it can release the femurs into the hip sockets and you can get a bit of a release. Here, Kenyatta, move a little bit closer to me. That way you don't get a kick in the head or tickle Liz's feet when you stretch. But you can move your mat with you. Let me see if I can just pull it. Okay. All right, so we've been focusing on sadhana for this month. And for the first couple of weeks of every month, we're really just focused on what our theme is for the month. And so sadhana is something you do on purpose to get to a goal that you're trying to attain. So whether that's through knowledge or through movement or through breath, sadhana is really everything around you that you use on your path to become the person you want to be. So the way that you interact with other people, or the posture you take when you're sitting or lying down. We talk all the time about how what we're doing here on these mats is not just, it doesn't just end here. We take it out there and it helps us to function through all of that other stuff. Like every time we hear one of those loud cars come through the four-way stop, it reminds us that we don't get to control stuff. And that life is just loud and chaotic sometimes. But what can we do to feel calm on the inside? Just notice how you're breathing here. I want to take a few breaths. I want you to check in with your breath. Try not to force any inhale or exhale right now. Just kind of let it come and go and see where you are. And so we'll just kind of focus on the even breath today. This is a begin class, so we don't get too crazy in, pranayama, breathing, breath control, that kind of thing. But there's a lot of power in just breathing evenly and breathing deeply. It affects the way that we feel, think, sleep, digest our food, everything. So try to take a deep inhale, belly, chest, and then at the same time, just exhale evenly. And then back into the inhale. And then the exhale. Wait for the new breath to come on its own. Inhale. And then exhale. Do this a few more times on your own, being sure the belly and the chest, the lungs are participating in the breath. Tapping into that parasympathetic nervous system to get us balanced and even for our Saturday. And if your knees are bent or if your knees are open, go ahead and bring the legs straight. So we all have straight legs. And then bring your arms overhead and just take a long stretch. Circle the wrists and the ankles. And then go ahead and bring the arms down. We're going to bend the knees one at a time, and then we're going to bring the knees up towards the body and hug the knees one at a time. Rock back and forth, left to right. Bring the feet back down. We'll do our supine pigeon. So right ankle to left thigh. Interlace the fingers behind the left thigh and draw the knee towards the body. Keep the feet flexed here. We want that bent knee to be stable. And Liz, you can actually put that block underneath your foot just to get a little bit more height because you're probably in between. Yeah, I bet you could do that. And if it's too much, yeah, if it's too much, don't do it. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay. And you could also put a block behind your head and just kind of, yeah, just play with it. Take another breath or two here. If you need to go deeper into this pose, grab the outside of the knee instead of behind the knee. Go ahead and release. We're going to keep your knee there, keep your foot there, because we're going to take this and do a twist. So bring that top leg. The foot is going to touch the floor off the left side of your mat. So just drop the knees into a twist. Extend the arms. And if you're not really feeling much in the pectoral muscles for straight arms, you could bend the elbows and have goddess arms. Just keep that right shoulder heavy towards the mat. And take a few breaths here. Keep the belly soft so the lower back muscles can release. And you can have the eyes closed here if you're really working on focus. If your eyes are open, if you feel safer with your eyes open, just look at one spot because most of us come to the mat and we're not focused. So we want to train the brain to do that. Take one more breath. And then go ahead, bring the knees back up. Uncross the legs. And then we'll do the other side. So left ankle to right thigh, interlace the fingers behind the right leg or on top of the knee. Depends on your mobility. And breathe here. You could also kind of shift the pelvis a little bit to even things out. So keeping the pelvis balanced, shift the left knee away from you a little bit, and then drop the tailbone a little bit. And that might even things out and give you a deeper stretch. And take another breath or two here. Go ahead and bring that right foot to the floor. Cross the left leg over, drop your knees off to the right for your twist, extend the arms. Find your breath here. Notice any differences on this side than the other, in the hips, in the back, in the arms. And go ahead and exhale, bring the knees back up. All right, so we're going to uncross the legs, straighten the legs, and now just bend the right knee. So we're going to do a supine tree. Bring the heel as close to the body as you can. Activate the left leg so the left leg is strong, and then drop that right knee out to the side as if you're in a standing tree pose. So supine vrikshasana. If you need to put something underneath that right knee for support, go ahead and do that. Your hands can maybe rest on your belly, or they can go overhead, or you can even grab opposite elbows over the head. You just decide what feels good. Yoga is not always about feeling good, but right now it is. I'll allow it. That's supposed to be funny, you guys, seriously. I'll allow it. Isn't it? Thank you. I needed that validation. Sheesh. Another breath or two. So if you activate the glutes, you can kind of push the hips up towards the ceiling and open up the hips a little bit more. Or you can just use this as a passive opening for the hips. If your arms are overhead, bring the arms down. Use your hand to support that bent knee going back up towards the ceiling, just because we don't want to pull anything. And then straighten the right leg, bend the left knee. Same thing. Bring it up as close as you can to the body and then drop it out to the left. So if your foot is all, because we're going to do tree pose standing up today. If your foot is all the way up into the groin, activate the right leg, toes up towards the ceiling. You know that you have the mobility. If you can do it here, but you can't do it standing up yet, it might just be muscular stuff, like the strength to keep to hold the leg up. Because tree pose seems so simple. You know, we're just lifting one leg. It's not simple, and it does require a lot of muscular action from that lifted leg. Here we're just opening the hips, press the glutes into the front of the body, maybe to open a little bit more. Another breath or two. And then bring the arms down if they're overhead. Use your hand to support your knee coming back up towards the ceiling, and then straighten that leg. Good. Bend both knees and let the knees just rock back and forth like windshield wiper style. Separate the feet and just kind of opposite dropping, alternate dropping the knees. Yeah. And then we'll roll all the way onto our right side, push ourselves up to a seated position. All right, so however you decide to sit, cross to the other side. The side that's uncomfortable and awkward. Does it feel awkward for you guys still? It does, right? So this could be some sort of sadhana practice when you're off the mat. If you're ever in a position where you're sitting like this, you know, because I know that you sit on the floor and not your couch while you're watching Netflix and stuff like that, or on a block, right? Anytime your legs are crossed, make a habit to do it the uncomfortable way, because you want balance in your hips. So the longer you do it, the more it'll feel even. So, all right, fingertips to the floor in front of you, and just walk. Walk the hands forward, stop when your leg stops you. And however far you go is really irrelevant. It's what you're feeling in the legs. Keep your shoulder blades drawing towards each other. The neck is long. And just breathe here. If your eyes are closed, you can focus on what's going on inside. If your mind is still a bit busy, notice where you're feeling sensations in the body, and that'll take you right to the present moment. And when the mind leaves 100 times, just keep bringing it back. It'll get the picture eventually. All right, so we're gonna walk the hands to the right. So wherever you are, just start to walk them to the right. And then walk to the left. Come back to center. And then walk back to where you're sitting up. Now let's switch legs. We'll do the easy way second. And I mean, this still might be, it might be more comfortable for your feet. I mean, I'm pretty convinced that however your feet were crossed like in the womb is how they are kind of bent and how they are now. Like one foot will always probably bend a little bit more. You know, I don't know, but yeah. All right, go ahead and walk on the easier side. Yeah. Yep. Which makes sense because this is a side that you're always opening more, right? We're just going to take a breath or two here since this is going to be the easier side for most of you. And then walk your hands to the right and see how that feels. Walk your hands to the left. And then go ahead back to center and sit yourself up. Straighten the legs out in front of you. I feel like I've totally moved in here. I have like a whole bunch of stuff. I have my mask, my socks, scarf, a bunch of drinks, which I still like to drink a lot of things. My pillows and blankets. Gosh. Okay. Extend the legs out in front of you. It looks ridiculous, but it looks cozy. Robin, I don't know if, oh, and I have a TV in the background. So I have everything. Okay, Dandasana first. Remember is everybody like comfortable and good with Dandasana? Because this was for me very uncomfortable for a long time. My knees bent or your heels lift, things like that. You're really activating these outer hips and kind of ripping the mat apart. But you can bring your hands as far back as you need to lift the chest. If your back is rounding, just bring your hands back further. And then eventually, you just kind of play with it. But look at your feet. We're going to take a few breaths here. Just stare at your toes. That's your focus point. If your legs are shaking, you're definitely doing it the right way. And then we're going to bring this into a forward fold. So go ahead, just lift up, engage, lift the pelvic floor, and kind of pour the body forward. You can walk your fingertips. If you have a strap, you can use a strap here. If you're able to grab the big toes without rounding the top of the back, then do that. If you are grabbing the toes, still actively draw the shoulder blades towards each other. Good. And then shoulders away from the ears. And we'll breathe here. You can reach your toes. Just grab them. There, see? You did it. Use 2 fingers though. There you go. She's like, I'm going to use actually 1 finger, this one, to grab my toe. Take another breath. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release. That's why I just grabbed my big toe like this. Bend the right knee, drop it out to the side. Gosh, that's the first time I've blended like real profanity with yoga. Nobody would ever know. Inhale, lengthen. Gosh, now I got to delete this dang video. Darn it. Exhale, fold. That's who I am. I'm sorry. I'm not from around here. I don't think that matters, but yeah. But you know me, I just talk. So lift your chin towards your shin. And the reason that we do that for forward folds is to keep the neck neutral. Shoulders stay back. And then you can feel the pelvic floor lifting as you gather the lower belly in and up. Those are the bandhas that we're always doing. Are you good? A rib thing? So yeah, if it gets like squished, that's uncomfortable. You could like feel the organs. Sorry that happened. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release. Just lie down on your back and stretch it out. Yeah, because it got like tangled. It doesn't sound safe at all, but it's good. Yeah, just stretch. And then we'll just do the other side of the leg. So bend the left knee, close the knee joint first, and then drop it out. Get the meat away from the sitting bone. Inhale, lengthen. We're pressing through the ball mound of the big toe. Exhale, fold forward. Good. Were you reaching your toes before? Okay. And this feels good? Okay. Good. Yep. Yeah, and I mean, there's no wrong place to feel it really, because some people might just feel it in their hips, but their hamstrings are super open. But typically this is going to open up the hamstrings. Is that where you feel it? Where do you feel it? In the outer hip maybe, because you're like right behind the knee. Okay, we don't want to feel it there. So back out of it a little bit. Are you engaged in the belly and stuff? Okay, all right, well, we're gonna come out of it anyways. Bring the bottoms of the feet together, drop the knees out to the sides. Is your ribs okay now?
I think I was bending wrong.
You weren't bending wrong. I've squished my guts before. It's super uncomfortable. Yeah. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, flat back first, chin towards the floor. Whoops. Don't grab your toes, grab your ankles. Don't do what I just did. Shoulders back. And then your elbows compressed, the inner thighs open, so your shoulders are away from the ears. We're in that direction. If it doesn't do that, if that's not comfortable, then don't do it. Okay, inhale, come all the way up. Now we round the spine and drop the top of the head towards the feet. Just feel a complete stretch in the spine. And so the goal is to reach the top of the head towards the feet. So bend over and make your upper body into a C. Shoulders away from the ears still. And then inhale, come all the way up. Use your hands as you exhale to bring the knees back together, and then come to hands and knees. Is the temperature in here okay for you guys? Are you okay? Just let me know if anything changes. All right, let's start with Betalasana. Hands at least in front of the shoulders a little bit for support. Yeah, like way more in front of your shoulders. And if you need to grab the sides of the mat, you can grab them. Okay. All right, pressing the roots of the fingers, knees under the hips. Inhale and start with lifting the tailbone and lifting the chin. So the other thing here is, and we were just talking about the neck staying neutral. We don't want to lift the chin to bend the neck here. We're still keeping the neck long and just lift and long, because those are things that when we're doing like reverse plank or back bends, you have to get that feeling of keeping the back of the neck long, not bending the cervical spine in half. Okay, go ahead, exhale and arch. And then go back and forth with your breath. Did you guys just hear music? Okay, disregard. Okay. It was not birds, but yeah, let's just forget about it. You got to turn it up really loud in order to hear it, right? Bring some movement into this if you want. Shoulders, hips. We haven't done any lateral stretches yet. So if you want to bring head to hip, and do that, you can open up the side body. Let's do a couple more, and then we're going to go into child's pose. So finish up where you are, come back to a flat back, a neutral spine. Bring your big toes together, the knees apart, sit back onto your heels. Extend the arms forward and press the hands into the mat first so you can open up the shoulders. So activate the arms. As you activate the arms, you can kind of feel the sitting bones way down onto the heels. If it feels good to have some sort of movement here, you can rock the head a little bit and rock the body. I mean, releasing stuck and stagnant energy works with just moving the body a little bit. And sometimes the rocking feels good, but if you need stillness, just be still. As you breathe, feel the rib cage on all sides of the body expand. We're going to take just another breath or two here. And then inhale, lift the head, walk the hands towards you just a little bit, and return to hands and knees. So knees will go under the hips. We're going to come into our first down dog. If you feel, do you guys feel like you want to stretch the wrists first? Go ahead and put the top of the top of the hand on the mat. Take a few breaths, shake it out, and then do the other side. And then bring your palms a little bit forward, curl the toes under, hips up and back. All right, pedal the feet out, do what feels good here. If just lengthening through the tailbone is what feels good, then do that. We're not gonna stay here very long. Just take a few breaths, press the hands, lengthen the side body, soften the heels towards the mat. Separate your feet to the edges of the mat. Walk your hands towards the body, bend the knees if you need to. And we're just going to hang forward for a moment. So you can grab opposite elbows and drop the head, sway a little bit left to right. Nod the head yes and no. Notice how much tension you're actually holding in your neck and shoulders, and see if you can release the back of the neck on a deeper conscious level here. Just completely let the head dangle. And then go ahead and bring your fingertips back to the mat. You can bring the feet a little bit closer together, hip width apart, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Just bring your hands to the shins and lengthen through the crown of the head. So yes, you're like lifting your sitting bones and engaging the belly here, shoulders back. And notice what you're doing with your neck here. Is the chin lifted? Is the neck neutral? I mean, we're kind of focusing on keeping the neck neutral today. So see if you can do that. Slightly bend the knees, inhale, bring the arms up. Palms together, exhale, hands in front of the heart. Okay. Hands on the heart for just a moment while we breathe. Come back to the front of your mat. Get into your Tadasana legs, your mountain pose body. But feel the heart beating. If you're comfortable closing the eyes, close the eyes. Shift the hip creases back, lift the chest. We're going to do a couple of rounds of sun salutations here. So just take another breath. Bring back to the front of your mind what it was that we were talking about in the beginning. What is that small thing you're working on for your practice? And then go ahead and release the arms. And we'll do Surya Namaskar A. Nice and slow. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees as generously as you need to. Drop the head. Inhale, look up. Exhale, start to step back, plant the hands flat, and chaturanga down. Elbows touch the sides of the body. Inhale up. We'll wait for you. We'll make them stay in cobra. Just kidding. Good. Exhale, take it back to downward facing dog or child's pose for 5 breaths. Yogi's choice. Good. 1, deep breathing. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, look up, step forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Palms together, exhale, hands in front of the heart. How did that chaturanga feel? Good doing it on the knees? Good. Because even, I mean, it's just an ego thing. If like, you know, like we don't want to do it on our knees because that means that we're not good enough at it or something. But if you're doing it in alignment the right way, eventually you'll just be like, oh, I can just stick my legs out now. My arms are strong. It's really cool how that ends up happening. Okay, one more time for Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Drop the head all the way. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step back, chaturanga all the way down. Belly to the floor. Inhale, lift to cobra. And then exhale, take it back to downward facing dog, hips up and back, ears lined up with the inner arms. 5 breaths here. You can do child's pose too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, look up, step forward. And exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Palms together, sorry. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. No, you're good. Go ahead and come back to mountain pose. There's nothing better to do on a sunny day than to open up the heart. So we're gonna do that because if any garbage comes out, it's at least sunny out and we can smile about that, right? All right, so go ahead and bring the arm, loosen the arms up, bring the left leg back. We're just gonna stick with like warrior 1 today, and then we'll do a couple of forward folds. And honestly, it's time for us to go back down to the floor because sometimes I chat too much in the beginning of class. Sorry. Hey, it's all yoga though. All right, so we're gonna inhale the arms up. And then exhale, open up the chest. So remember for warrior 1, your hips are forward, you're pressing the outer edge of the back foot. And then just take a quick look at this right knee. Make sure you can see your big toe, but not your second and third. Good. And pull the elbows back. Couple of breaths. Find a spot and stare at it. Bring the palms together. Point them straight out. And now we're going to come into a twist. So slide the arms open. If it feels better on your back to lift the heel, you can do that as well. We're going to bring the palms together, straight arms, hands in front of the heart, and then back to mountain pose. Good. Same thing on the other side. So right leg back. Watch that front foot. The inner edge of the front foot is pointing straight forward. And then we drop the pelvis and bend into that front knee. Good. Press the outer edge of the back foot so that butt is engaged. And here we also release the tailbone. We're not tucking it, we're just kind of dropping it, and it allows the lower back to lengthen. Inhale, bring the arms up. Open the palms, exhale, pull the elbows back. We'll take a few breaths here. Good. Still aware of the feet touching the mat, still strong legs, lifting the ribs away from the pelvis, and really opening up the heart. You guys look great with your hearts open like that. Palms together, point the fingers forward, open up, twist to the left. You still have time, you still have time. Oh, okay. Go ahead and bring the palms together, hands in front of the heart, back to mountain pose. Good. All right. Face the windows and separate the feet. Inner edges of the feet point forward. If you use a block for your forward folds, I mean, I've seen all you guys do. You can always bend the knees, no big deal. Doesn't matter if you have the block today or not. Okay, Fix your pants, all that. Hands on the waist, engage the legs. So before we even go down, your butt is lifted, your quadriceps are lifted, takes the weight off of the ankles. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, send the hips back and the heart forward. Lead with the heart. The head is the last thing to come down. Bring your fingertips to the mat. So even here, shift your weight forward, especially if you have a tendency, if you are flexible, shift your weight towards the balls of the feet. Drop the head. And bend the knees if you need to. Take a few breaths here. The bandhas are engaged, so pelvic floor, abdominals, that's all engaged here. The sitting bones are engaged and lifted. Good, take one more breath. We're gonna keep the left hand right below the face and inhale the right arm up. So coming into another twist here. And then exhale the right hand down, right below the face, inhale the left arm up. You'll feel a shift in the legs, which is fine. Exhale the left arm down. Inhale, look up, so lift the head. Exhale, bring your hands onto your waist. And inhale all the way up. Exhale, bring your feet back together. And then face me for our tree pose. So remember what we talked about earlier for tree pose. After this, we're gonna come back down to the mat and yeah. Hey, can I see you? I wanna see. Oh, that is pretty. Yeah, I want that. Okay. I'm always like amazed at the nail polish in here. I never thought that I would be so focused on nail polish in here. I mean, at nighttime, it just glows to a really pretty, like sparkly. Yeah. Robin's like, what the hell? Shift your weight to just, let's stop and talk about nail polish. Hey, this is just who we are, right? Lift the right heel. No, so remember the thing about, remember where you were lying down with your tree pose. If you were up here, see if you can get your knee up here. And if not, fall like the teacher. All right, if you're above the knee, go above the knee. Just don't go on the knee. You can go below the knee, you can keep your toes here. And you can use the wall. When you're ready, keep the hips pointing forward and the knees out. And do whatever you want with the arms. You can be holding onto the wall and have half a hand here. You can move. Just keep your eyes on one spot, okay? Yes. So if your knee is above the pelvis though, which I think it is, right? You're qualified. You can bring it here. So even from here, you're pressing the heel into the thigh, so you're still activating. And then we're just making sure this hip goes in and up. So no like loosey-goosey hip. Everything is lifting. Good. Bring your knee forward, extend the leg. 1, 2, point the toes. 3. All right, other side. So find your tree on your other leg. If you are up here, just use your hand to bring the heel to the inner groin. And then press the heel into the thigh. Find your focus point and breathe. Okay, go ahead, bring your knee forward, extend the leg, point the toes for 1, 2, 3. Everything comes back down. That was really good. I almost left you. I'm just gonna leave you guys here for a while because it was really good. Nice. Come to the front of your mat. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold. Dawn caught me though. I was like, how long should I leave him here? Inhale, look up. Exhale, step back, lower your body in chaturanga all the way to the floor. All right, we're gonna do 3 cobras here, okay? So bring your hands to your lower ribs. Can you see me okay, Robin? Yeah. Hands to the lower ribs. And really actually use your fingertips to feel where your lower ribs are. So not your bra strap. It's a little bit lower than that even. And tuck your elbows, scoop them in, shoulders lift. Tops of the feet are flat on the mat, and we're about hip width apart here. So start to press the feet into the mat to lift the knees and engage the legs. Even engage the butt here. Press the hips into the mat. We're gonna lengthen the spine through the crown of the head as we lift. So nice and slow. The back of the body's doing the work, not the hands. Hands are only doing a little bit. Inhale, lift, start to peel the forehead up. Keep lengthening, shoulders back. Press the tops of the feet. And then 3 breaths. Long neutral neck. Good. And lower onto your right cheek, release the arms. This resting part is my favorite. Hands back to the lower ribs. This time we're going to the edge of the mat. So even though our hands are further apart, we're still squeezing the shoulder blades towards each other, okay? Forehead to the mat, engage the legs just like before, and then we start to peel up. Inhale, lift. See if you can make your hands a little bit lighter by using the muscles in the back of the body. And then go ahead and lower left cheek, rest the arms. All right, one more heart opener, but it's gonna be a full locust. So what that means is the next time we lift, the hands are pointing behind us. So the fingertips point back and the toes point back. Everything is lifting off the mat, okay? The only thing that's on the mat is your pelvis. So on your next inhale, go ahead and lift. Lift the legs, point the toes, lift the arms, fingers back. Yep, and then just have your head lifted a little bit so the neck is neutral. One more breath, lift a little higher. And lower. Rest however you want to rest here. You want to rest with a side of banging? Okay. Bring your hands to the lower ribs. Yes, I know, I love it. See if you can reverse chaturanga here. Don't peel up here. Lift evenly to your hands and knees. Yep, just keep, and then go to your knees. Good. Come into child's pose. Big toes together, knees apart. If you want to just come into a ball here and rest your arms, you can grab them towards the bottoms of the feet. You can do prayer hands and drop them behind the head. Find some extra rest here. One more breath. And then go ahead and bring your hands back to the mat, lift the head. We're going to come back to hands and knees, cross at the ankles, have a seat. If you have anything you want to put on for your Shavasana, as far as sweatshirts or socks or blankets, go ahead and get that ready. How is your hip thing going? It's good? It like hasn't bothered you again? No, because I'm not walking 20 miles a day. Are you? Oh yeah. Aw. He's a peer? Aw, that means you're special. Go ahead, lie down. Aw, what kind of dog is he that he pees on people? Okay. Uh-huh. Oh, good idea. For people. Go ahead and start to exhale and release. So palms face up, let the feet hang out to the sides. Use this as your opportunity to really let go. Soften the muscles in the face. Shoulders, arms, spine, everything sinking into the floor in the upper body. And then hips, legs, feet, allow them to release completely, sinking into the floor. Try to identify the heaviest part of the body and feel that part of the body sinking even heavier. And as gravity pulls that part of the body down, at the same time, feel the heart get lighter and lighter. Staying grounded, but keeping the heart open as you give yourself this gift of relaxation.